Hey everyone, it's Leftovers for Dinner, and this is a little mini episode of Work in Progress Wednesday. I know I haven't done one of these lately, but hey, I recently got inspired to do a couple more crafts and I wanted to share them with you. Now, I'm friends online with a lot of geocachers and letterboxers and other crafty people, and a few weeks ago, almost a month ago, a letterboxer and very crafty person called Flynn she lives up north. She messaged me and said, hey, I have a bunch of register paper like this left over from cleaning out something, and I wanted to know if people like you who are really crafty wanted some. And I said sure, and she suggested a couple of ideas for making some logbooks and wanted to know if I could come up with some, and I have. So using just plain old register tape or cashier tape paper from, a cash register, like receipt paper, I made a couple of little mini logbooks. And here's the first one. And it's got a little ribbon and a little hole. And here is the register paper. So, yeah, there's a cute little green ribbon and this, and there's the paper. Several sheets. And here's my other one, and this is just some raw silk scrap and a little charm and just some purple and the cash register tape. Now you're probably noticing, if you look on the inside, you see that stuff. That's because I've basically made these cute little logbooks or little pocket journals with free stuff. The covers are made out of paint chips from the hardware store. So yeah, I made something really cute using practically nothing. Okay, so first, supplies. Again, this is cash register tape or receipt paper. Usually comes in big, long rolls. And this one, I've only put 1/3 of a dent in, and I've actually made about 4 or 5 little mini journals. Granted, they all have about maybe 20 or 30 pages each, but if I really wanted to, I could still make a lot more with just this single roll. So if you don't really have this, use some construction paper or anything that is just a long sheet of paper. You'll just be able to keep using it since it's all the same length and the same size. Kind of helps making it easy to cut. Also, I got some paint chips from the local hardware store. I went to Lowe's and I also went to Walmart. Leftover craft ribbon, binder clips, scissors, maybe a stapler, and something to punch holes in both the paper and the little paint chips. Now, I'm lucky. I actually had a little Zutter bookbinding product gifted to me a few months back, but not everybody has one of these, so if you don't, use a hole puncher. It could just be a regular old, hand punch or one of these old school little desk hole punchers. So anything will work, it's just what you have on hand. Okay, so this is kind of hard to do while I'm trying to do a video because it usually requires some focused attention and both hands, but I'll try to make it work. So if you see a couple of mess ups, don't worry, if you're doing it yourself, it's going to be a lot easier. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to take my little paint chip and, oh, that's another thing. The paint chips you use, try to make sure they're about the size of the long sheet or long source of paper that you have. So these work pretty well. It's almost the same size. There's a little bit of overlap, which is what you want for any journal or any like letterboxing or geocaching logbook. And what I did was basically I lined it up. As you can see, The edge may not be perfect, so I just take a good pair of scissors. Well, I don't know if you guys can see that through the light. You see that? Oh, it's not even. We're going to cut it along the edge of the paint chip, which is right here. Okay? So let's line that up and try to cut it straight across. Okay, that's still not very good. Let's try one more time. And I eyeball everything. For you perfectionists or people who are actually trying to make something really nice and special for a friend, you'll do a better job than this. Anyways, okay, so it's pretty much straight. I'm gonna line it up. I'm gonna try to hold it as flat as I can. And then I'm gonna go like this, and I'm gonna fold it like that, so that it's actually totally against the paint chip sample. And now I'm gonna flip it. Okay. I'm gonna line it up right there. Oops, let me get that in frame so you guys can see it, not just me. Okay, I'm gonna line it up right here. And I am going to hold it from this side, which is hard to do because the camera's in the way. And I'm going to make a quick crease and then make sure it's lined up and fold. There we go. Now I'm doing all of this with the paint chip still in place. So what that may cause is a little bit of crookedness. You'll want to correct it yourself every time you flip and fold. So see, there's a little bit of space and almost a little bit of crookedness. Now you don't have to keep folding around. What I actually started to do, which was more convenient, is I'd make a note of where that crease is and go like that. And I actually just go like this. Fold it backward, not fold it around. And this actually helped me create slightly more organized folds. So there we go. Let's do that one more time on camera. Okay, I'm gonna make a note of where the fold is, and I'm gonna go like that. Okay, now see, the whole time the receipt paper is rolling away, so try to have it in a place where it won't roll off your table and, you know, get doggy treats on it or something, or worse, lint. So there we go. Alright, and then make a mental note, go like this, and fold back down. And when I do it this way, it actually helps it from being crooked instead of just constantly going around like this. So make a note as to where the crease is, do a mini crease, then keep folding. And eventually you can slide the paint chip out like that, and you've got, oops, you've got this so far. See that? Okay, so let's do it one more time without the paint chip in place. We're just kind of eyeballing it. Okay, there we go. And go like this to keep it straight so it doesn't get crooked or slanted. And then we go like that. You're probably going to do this at least 20 times. And then when you're done, you'll have a neatly folded, almost identical stack of sheets, like this. At which point, you can just simply cut across the bottom. There you go. Now you have a stack of sheets that are all the same. And all you have to do is take a binder clip at the top and set it. Now during this time, while it's all you know, locked in. You've got a free hand, so try to make sure everything lines up, like this little piece that's poking out. If that happens, you just undo the binder clip and try to shove it all in place. Or kind of change your fold a little bit. So, and then just let it rest for a while. Let the folds rest. What ends up happening is this. So this now fits perfectly with this. And I'm ready to poke a hole. Now if you have a book binder like this, all you do is you release the paper from the binder clip and set it aside because you're actually going to take the paint chips first, line them up, put those in your book binder, and then poke the holes. And you just do that by just pushing through. Once the holes are poked, here, let's do a test one so I can show you guys both options. Let's do a test one. Make sure you line it up. And that's about as good as we're going to get. You're going to want to make sure you feed the free pages exactly the same way. So you'll put the free pages in like that, and you'll remove the very thick paint chip, and then you'll press the paper. Now I'm gonna go ahead and assume that not everybody has one of these fancy things because they are kind of expensive, and even I didn't have one for the longest time. So if you don't have one, you just take plain old hole puncher, whether it's one of those ones that goes like this that you saw in elementary school, or if it's a fancy desk one. Just put this paper stack all in there if you can. If you can't, separate the paper stack and put a little like Sharpie marker or magic marker in the same exact place every few sheets where you want the hole. So, but this, luckily, this hole puncher, it's all the same. There we go. And there we go. See? Hole. Now, I'm going to go ahead, because I did this backwards, you'll want to do this part first. Take the pieces that are going to be your book, put that in there. As you can see, my hole puncher, I'm actually trying to line it up with this little guide right here. Okay. And there we go. Oops. And I just committed a newbie mistake. See, I have both the pretty sides. Yeah, I should have, on this one, put it on this side. Sorry about that. Turns out the camera cut off. Like I was saying, always make sure you're punching holes on the appropriate side. But hey, it works out because what we can do is make sure we still line up the holes. Like that. Oops. And then do the same thing on the other side. Turns out my holes aren't lining up too well. Yep. And now we have 2 holes. So it's going to be a 2-hole notebook. Now I will need to make sure I do that to this stuff. Oops. Okay, so and feed it in there. Try to make sure you're lining things up like they would be in the notebook. Okay, and here's hoping for the best. Like that. So now that I have everything punched out, I need my ribbon. Okay. I'm just going to cut just halfway decent section. Oops. Okay. And let's do it again. So I have 2 pieces of ribbon about the same length. And I'm just going to feed them through the holes. Oops. So binder clips holding everything in place, at which point I can feed the ribbon through. Alright. And just tie a little bow. Okay, I'll try to twist the ribbon upward, pull a little bit more through, and now tie my little bow. I'm terrible at bow making. I should probably watch some YouTube videos on that. Okay. And there you go, so far. Now, once you're done with this, you're gonna notice after tying the bows and everything, you might have a little white space down here. When that happens, go ahead and take your sturdy scissors and snip right across. At which point, you'll end up with something really cute, like these.